You're listening to The Manning Report with your host, James David Manning. The news behind the headlines.
I want to get started today with Jimmy Carter. Former President Jimmy Carter strikes first blood. Jimmy Carter, as you very well know, and we're going to put it up in just a moment, made a statement last week that Donald John Trump, or Trillation Trump, is not a legal president based on all the facts that we know. And coming out of the reports from 16 intelligence agencies that there was Russian collusion of 141 contacts between the Trump campaign and Russia. And then once Mueller testifies on the 17th of July, the reason why I said Jimmy Carter, President Jimmy Carter, former President Jimmy Carter strikes first blood is because once Mueller testifies, a whole lot of people are going to then be saying he is totally and completely illegit. There's no way, even people that support him now are going to realize that this boy is as phony as a $3 bill. But Mr. Engineer, please roll that clip once again.
Russia has been proven by our intelligence community to have interfered with one of our human rights, which is the right of free and fair elections. What's your reaction? How should we deal with Russia?
Well, the president himself should condemn it, admit that it happened, which I think 16 of the intelligence agencies have already agreed to say. And there's no doubt that the Russians did interfere in the election. And I think the interference, although not yet quantified, if fully investigated, would show that Trump didn't actually win the election in 2016. He lost the election, and he was put into office because the Russians interfered on his behalf.
So do you believe President Trump is an illegitimate president?
Based on what I just said, which I can't retract, I would say yes.
Full disclosure, Jimmy Carter was the first president that I ever actually shook his hand and had breakfast with him in the year 1978 in Washington at the White House. I had breakfast with him, shook his hand, and was able to have a fellowship with him. It was an extraordinary event. I had just been released from prison, but I had the unusual opportunity to meet with him, and I had hundreds of pictures of my shaking out of a gray suit, and I was very young, had a head full of hair. I don't know where all those pictures are. It's been so long ago, but at any rate, Jimmy Carter is not my favorite president, I can tell you that. But he has come forward now with what I think a lot of other people are going to come forward with in just a few days after Robert Mueller testifies. I think there are a lot of Republicans now that are ready, and a lot of people generally that have been supporting Trump that are ready to come forward and say he's illegit. The problem is, and I've been saying this for quite some time, and thank you, Angela Kane, who has been paying very close attention to all my messages, that I've been saying this for some time. And one of the reasons why Robert Mueller probably did not actually stomp down, connect, and make the case for collusion, because it would throw the American government into a tailspin. Because immediately people would realize that Trump did collude, that there ain't no way that Trump could have ever won the election without Russia putting him in office. Mueller knows that. He decided not to make that charge in segment number 1 of the Mueller report, but everybody knows it. Even the diehard Trump supporter, look into my eyes. If you're a Trump supporter, or if you know a Trump supporter, you know that even Trump himself worked with Russia to become the president. And you also know this, you know that the reason why Trump is such a sissy, I mean, this bully who bullies everybody, who demands that the Central Park 5 black boys be put back in jail even though they've been exonerated. This bully that bullies Stormy Daniels, this bully that bullies women and talks about them like they're dogs, this bully who called Omarosa a dog, this bully that bullies everybody, this bully that talked about Carly Fiorina being an ugly woman, this bully that called Ted Cruz a liar and said his father was involved in the killing of John Kennedy. This bully, Trillation Trump, who bullies everybody, this bully that bullies everybody is a pure sissy. a very sissy when it comes to Putin. He bullies everybody else on the planet. He bullies everybody. But when it comes to Vladimir Putin, Trump turns into a sissy. I mean, a stinking sissy. A sissy is this bully. Why is he a sissy before Trump? Before Putin? Because Putin got the goods on that boy that would make hell itself repent. That's the kind of goods that Putin's got on this boy, because he's a bully. He's been a bully all his life. He bullied John McCain. He bullies anybody. He bullies everybody, but he's a sissy. He goes from being a bully to a sissy. This boy goes from being a bully to a sissy. This boy goes from being a bully to a sissy when he steps in the front of that Russian KGB agent, Vladimir Putin, and boom, shakabilly goes right there. Got a new word. So yeah, Jimmy Carter strikes first blood, because there's no way that Trump could have been president without. So what we have happening now, and what Robert Mueller did and what others have done, and perhaps to some degree what Bob Barr is trying to do, Bill Barr rather, is trying to do, is to stop America from going into a tailspin.